Hello. Oh man, I'm a dweeb. Um, I'm I I started recording and I wasn't doing a screenshot. So I think about 15 minutes into my recording, I realized that you were not seeing the diagrams that I was trying to show you and I was discussing. Going I'm going to leave it the way it was. But what I am going to do to fix the issue is um, tell you that I'm using three models. Here we go. Three models here in my discussion, and I'm going to attach those images somehow to my YouTube channel. Figured out, and and that way you have them if you're so interested. I'll figure it out. We will figure this out together, and then you can listen to it while you're looking at the diagrams, and and then eventually I switch to this screenshot recording where I'm actually kind of have this models with me doing my stuff. And but nonetheless, the information I'm articulating is still, I think, useful. But this is going to be one of the most disorganized videos, and actually a little bit longer than usual. So I can't imagine many people getting through this. God bless your souls. But you know what? That's not the point of this channel right now. The point of this channel is to share my journey of healing, and to get my research out there. It is discombobulated and disorganized, and my channel is an outlet for me, for me to heal, um, to heal, and to share my knowledge, and get my stuff out there. And right now, my stuff is just not organized. And this is the utilization of my channel is me organizing my thoughts, is getting me the things that I've been working on organized. So, I mean, this is just going to be a very raw, organic, and very disorganized channel at the moment. And I know in the future it will make a lot more sense. But then it's kind of cool too because I'm recording the authenticity of the emergence of me becoming into my own, and then showing the initiation of my thoughts as they kind of just emerge. And so it's so beautiful and raw and amazing, and it's great. It's great. And so I'm excited. So okay, if you know what, and I'm just putting it out there. I'm not doing this. I'm doing this for me and you. I'm not, and right now, this is just my process. You're welcome to take the journey with me, and it's kind of going to be disorganized. And I look forward to when I get these things more organized and get it out there, and I'll be able to teach it in a much more organized and solidified way. But for right now, this is how it's going out there, just because it just needs to be out there. Anyway, I think I've repeated myself enough, and I'll just let you get to the rest of the video. All right, have a good weekend. Good morning. It is just woke up and having my coffee, and I had some thoughts, and I thought, I'm just gonna make another video. I mean, it's just, I'm like, it's like, I'm like, don't work, but it's just calling me. It's just, I want to share this, and it's, this, the initiation of my channel is just, it's just gonna be disorganized, raw, um, and I can imagine that in a couple years I will have a much more solidified model and program and whatever. Well, not program, but more solidified, organized theoretical model of what I'm talking about. Utilizing many, standing on the shoulders of giants. And I mean, it's a humble model, but I think it's a relevant, useful, practical model, a guide, if you will, to individuating, especially when you have a cluster B personality. But that's not what I was wanting to talk about today. This morning I'm having my coffee. You can have some coffee with me this morning. Hello. I was thinking how wonderful it is if you find your family of friends that are willing to take the life journey with you and stick it out with you when you keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again. I think I'm finally breaking my cycle, and I'm taking my community of humanity with me on this journey, and sharing it as integrally and as authentically as I can. So I had a tendency of entering into toxic relationships, and because I was toxic, I have had toxic dynamics in my psyche that I didn't contend with, and because I was so externally locus of control, it was everybody else's fault, not mine. Everybody else was affecting my behavior, and so I could just blame shift, but I would enter into relationships with with individuals with that same psychological dynamics, and then of course I could project, oh well, look at all this stuff you're doing. This is because I'm doing it. Because we always dislike the thing that we dislike the thing about the person that's really inside of us, But I've had I've had a fear of being alone, and fear of loneliness, fear of an aversion to boredom, a fear of just being not existing almost, and you know and so I've entered into toxic relationships where myself and my partners, and let me disclaim here, I'm not talking about anybody in particular. I'm just speaking for myself here, my particular patterns of behavior. I've entered into many, many relationships in my life that are toxic. And, it's nobody's fault. There's not a blame game here. When there's blaming going on, there's a problem. We're not here to blame. But anyway, I'm just speaking for myself. I'm talking about my experience right now. But I've entered into toxic relationships where I want to merge. Because I feel invisible. For a long time, I felt invisible without the supply and external resources that are telling me that I'm okay in the world, that I'm safe, that I'm special, that I'm secure, but when we merge with somebody, that's kind of the topic of what I'm wanting to talk about a little bit. When we merge, there becomes a term that that was introduced to me by Richard Grannon. I'm talking a lot about Richard Grannon right now because he's been a mentor of mine in the last week as I've been introduced to him, and he's been a major help for me in my healing. And when we enter into a toxic relationship, because we are toxic, right? I'm toxic, so I'm going to vibrate toxicity toward me, because toxicity is the shadow side of our psyches that are beckoning us back inward to find our inner light. So toxicity, is that. It's a guiding post. And I had a desire to merge, and I would find partners that, hey, let's merge. We merge, and that creates an immense amount of toxicity because we're merging, because both the individuals are not seeking internally. There's no internal locus of control. We want to consume and parasite each other, um, and that creates a psychological virus. And we have to eliminate that virus because, on a very serious and grave level, it affects all of humanity. And we'll go into that later. I'm just, I'm gonna, what? These are very important things. These are issues of our time. These are the and I'm having a little bit of an elixir. Folie is an elixir. So okay, let's keep to the point here. I've just woke up. I'm just having my first cup of coffee, but I'm gonna just get it out there. This channel's really easy cheesy right now. It's kind of just me having a conversation with the world in the process of me healing. Oh, but so we merge, right? When we create the term is a folie à deux, and it means when like a shared psychosis, and when that happens, because I think I still have to think more thoroughly about this, but I'm just just kind of processing this out loud with y'all. But there are psychological dynamics in the psyche that when we start merging, it creates a shared delusional state between the individuals. Both parties are not attuned to their true self, or what Carl Jung calls the self, and then there's these false self, this false sense of self that starts interacting with each other, and it creates this toxicity. It creates a folie à deux. And let's see if we're ready to go and pull these up right now. I think so. This is my diagram. Let's see. This is just completely not organized right now, and that's okay. And I'm kind of just... So this is a very simple model of a model of the psyche as proposed by Carl Jung. And you'll notice there's a similarity here. Can you see the similarity of the diagram that was in my last video? What was the video? I can't remember. I'll just put a link of the video that has the other diagram in it at the bottom of this. But remember the video where the diagram that I was showing, where the hero's journey? I should just pull it up now, but I might in a minute. But there's the ordinary world, and then we have to move into the past the threshold of consciousness into the inner world, and undergo the ordeal, and then move out into sharing, going back into the ordinary world with the elixir from having moved inside of ourselves. Well, this is very similar to that. Because what is the prime symbol of consciousness? It's the circle. And astrology teaches us this. Ancient symbolism teaches us this. And very wise teachers such as Joseph Campbell and Carl Jung utilized the circles to model the nature of psychic phenomenon, and because psychic phenomenon is conscious phenomenon, our consciousness is cyclical. And so you're going to see me using a lot of these kinds of diagrams. You're going to see me using a lot of circles, because the circle is a prime symbol of consciousness, because we live in a cyclic nature. And so anyway, so when we're dealing with a folie à deux, and we have two individuals that are remaining in the outer world, in the ordinary world, and they haven't undertaken the courageous and ever becoming journey of going into our inner world and taking out the information, going back into our inner world and taking it, going in. So this is really a construct of this model here is really um, a model of consciousness and how consciousness works. So consciousness exists in um, kind of with two parts, really. I mean, we're just going to simplify it that way. It's two parts. We have individual consciousness, which is the ego, the persona, right? And it exists in an external world, And we have our senses, and we use our intellect, and we have feeling tones of things, and we have our intuition that's helping us navigate our um, our experience as individual entities, as individual consciousnesses in the world. And if we're focused on the outer world, we're going to believe that we're separate. And if the separation becomes, if we okay, if we are only remaining in the outer world, if we're only remaining in the ordinary world of our experience, because consciousness is an experience, and we're experiencing consciousness as individual entities from each other. That's what this is. That's what the outer world is. We create personas. We have an ego. And if we don't take the hero's journey, we don't do our inner work, we don't face what is inside us, inside our deepest unconscious realm, and it is terrifying. Nobody wants to do this, but it's necessary, and it takes a courage. The hero is a courageous person. You are a hero. I am a hero if we so take the journey. But let's get back to this. If we're staying in the ego, if we're only externalizing everything, we have an external locus of control. We're not. And so this is what I'm talking about, toxicity as helping us go inward. Let's take loneliness. Loneliness is like a forced solitude. When we're alone and we don't have another consciousness to interact with, what other place do we have to go but inward? We have to have a relationship with our self. The self, our inner experience, and our culture, and our materialistic culture, material outer world, is pulling us out of relationship with our inner world. This is the journey we must take. The Atma Jnanam, Hindu calls it, to go in self. It's self-knowledge. The Atma Jnanam. And we must undertake that journey to have a relationship with ourself, the Atma Jnanam. And when you have two individuals who are only externally driven, only existing with their false ego and false self and their persona, and not don't have anything to come, no, they're not, the individuals are seeking outward from another human being what they only can get from themselves. And so it creates toxicity in the relationship when we merge, and it creates a folie à deux, a shared psychosis. And it is our duty on this planet for each one of us to understand, to deeply understand the imperative of the circle as a prime symbol of consciousness. It is an imperative for us to understand what consciousness is and what role we have in participating in this experience, this divine experience of consciousness. And so we oh, you know what? I don't think I've been recording. Oh, bugger. I don't think I've been showing you guys the model. Let me fix this. Oh my gosh. Oh no, I'm gonna have to redo this. That's okay. Um, let me get the model up for you that I put up. I didn't show it to you. Dang it. All right, let's fix this issue. There we go. Okay. I think yes. Now I am recording. So okay, and I'm just gonna keep all that what I said. But so here's a diagram I wasn't showing. All right. Here's the diagram I was not showing. Um, um, so here is a diagram that is very similar to the one that I was showing. I think now that I'm finally recording, and I'll have to edit this somehow. But we exist in the world with consciousness as cyclical, and here's a diagram of Carl Jung's psychic model, the model of Carl Jung's psyche, and we have two domains: the outer world and the inner world. And this is very similar, as you can see. This is kind of, you could overlap this model on top of the hero's journey model, where when we have the call to adventure, we're existing in the ordinary, the ordinary world, the external world, where we're externalizing experience. So our consciousness is experienced as individual externally. But if we go inward, so let's talk about loneliness. Well, when we're experiencing loneliness, it can become toxic, because what's happening is that we want to. I think there's many reasons why loneliness is experienced, because we have to take what we have inside and share it with other people too. And if we don't have other people to share that with, we also get lonely, because we're supposed to take what we learn from the inside and teach it and share it with the world. And when that is being stifled, that creates loneliness. But what also creates loneliness is when we are not going into our inner world, and we're not taking the time to seek inward, and we're expecting other people to show us what consciousness is, what reality, what we are. We're ourself. If we try to find our self knowledge through the knowledge, and only from the knowledge of somebody else, without critically evaluating, and always staying sturdy and convicted to our own psychic experience, we'll lose ourselves. And so when we merge with somebody, because we are not differentiated, we haven't initiated ourselves into the healing process. We haven't moved from the ordinary world. We're refusing the call, and we stay here in the ego. So we have the ego, we have the consciousness, and then here's the threshold of consciousness that moves us into the inner world of our psyches. And as we move inward to our psyches, we undergo a crucifixion, a Saturnian, and this is this is astrology here, and this is we'll get into this eventually. This is just thoughts. This is totally disorganized. I'm just getting it out there. And anyone who is able to handle all this right now with this video, God bless you. God bless you. So, you know what? I should just pull up that. I should just pull it up. And you know what I mean? Just pull it up, baby. Yes. Boo-boo. So we can just show I want to show you what I'm talking about. You know, this isn't just crazy stuff, people. This is a roadmap, babies. So, okay, so circle is a prime symbol of consciousness, because the circle epitomizes the 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 cyclic nature that is consciousness, the enantiodromic ups and downs of, of, of the nature of the psyche. So we have a circle here that symbolizes each one of our individual consciousnesses. And when we look at the astrology chart, the same thing. It's a circle, but there's all these other dynamics that so you can use the circle for take to understanding these kind of psychological dynamics. So here we have Joseph Campbell's model of the hero's journey. Here we have Carl Jung's model of consciousness, and they're overlapped. We have the ordinary world, the known, we have the persona, the ego, the outer world, the conscious reality, and we have crossing into the threshold, into the self, unconscious, and moving into the inner world, approaching the innermost cave of our psyches. And I'm telling you, my friends, we're going into Neptunian Platonic realms. We're going into the shadow realms, the Hades realms. And do you see, Pluto is a planet, which is a psychological function of moving into and approaching the innermost cave. So when I say that planets represent psychological functions, this is a very important thing to understand. And I'm going to show you this. I'm going to teach you this. If you can be patient with me, and if you're willing to take this journey with me, we are going to heal together. Let's do this. So if we're avoiding the hero's journey, if we're just staying in the ordinary world and we're refusing the call and we're not moving ourselves from the ordinary into the inner world, and we're like, for example, if we're avoiding being lonely and we're avoiding going inward, because loneliness is our higher self, I hate that word higher, it is our inner world beckoningness for a relationship. And do you see here we have the anima and animus? That's the spirit, our spirit. And when they say we're having an anima projection, well, when we're anima projecting or animus projecting, women animus project, men anima project, because it's the opposite of who we are. Or we can, and if I'll go into this later. I have to keep myself centered. I don't want to digress too much, but we're projecting what we need. We're projecting onto them what we really need to deal with in our own inner selves. And that's very simply what a anima or animus projection is. And so when we're merging, let's pull this up. This is a model that I created using the Vesica Pisces, which is the prime and in first sacred geometry that creates all other sacred geometry. So even our reality, mathematics is a projective. Mathematics is a projective language into the psyche, if you will, and that's what sacred geometry does. If we understand sacred geometry's significance, it helps us understand consciousness even more. But that is again another topic. Here we have, I'm taking two circles here because I'm showing how like I'm showing a different way of, I'm taking this way of looking at it and using one circle, but I'm using two circles. Here we have the external world, we have the threshold of consciousness, and then we have the collective unconscious here. And I kind of like using the Vesica Pisces because it can kind of keep going back and forth like this a little bit more. I don't know why. Just bear with me. I have a lot to share, and it's just exploding out of me, and it's very disorganized, but that's just how it's happening right now. So when two people are in a healthy relationship, let's pretend these two circles are two individual psyches, because a circle symbolizes each person's individual experience of their consciousness, But when two people enter into a relationship, they're both healthy and they're taking their individual experiences of their inner world and bringing that forth to the other person, they interpolate, they overlap here. They create another entity of themselves as a couple. But when we merge, we create psychosis because there is no healthy give and take of the psychic world between the ego and the unconscious. And so when we're lonely, it is our inner world beckoning us to connect to our personal unconscious and to connect to the collective unconscious and to discover ourself, the Atman Jnanam, and to take the hero's journey. And when we do that, we can ameliorate some loneliness because we are now connecting to the collective unconscious and awakening ourselves to understanding that we are not separate. We think we are separate if we exist only in the explicit conscious realm, in the objective, material, ordinary world. Yes, we think that we're separate, but when we go inward into ourselves, we realize we are not separate. But then we have to take that wisdom that our self is teaching us and move it back into the world. And this is where another part of loneliness comes from, when we can't share our wisdom because people are not ready to hear it. People can't understand what we're saying. And that's where Carl Jung, he's like, oh, he suffered deep loneliness. That man suffered deep loneliness. But he suffered, and that's his outlet was his work. And he shared his hero's journey, and he had the intellect and the soul to do it. And so anyway, I don't even know how this video is going to end up. This is the thing. I'm an imperfect being, and I'm accepting that now. And what? I'm not supposed to be perfect? Okay, well, I'm not showing up perfect, not at all. And I make mistakes. And it's okay. And I'm not perfect. And I'm just gonna you guys, I'm sorry. I'm gonna try to fix the mistakes I made on recording this, because when I first started recording, I was only recording me, not realizing I wasn't recording my screen. So you didn't get to see a lot of what I was talking about. But I'm just gonna keep it that way. And you know what? I'm gonna talk more about this later. This is initiating some of the work that I've been working on for a long time, and I'm putting it out there. And I will make videos that are way more congruent, way more organized. Right now, my channel is going to be raw, man, because we're taking a raw journey, and that's how I'm doing it right now. So, maybe what I'll do is, I don't know, I'll fix this somehow. But anyway, that's some of my thoughts, and I'm trying to become a whole individual, and becoming a whole individual requires the interpolation of my internal world, me having the courage to take my hero's journey. Here we go. I'll just use this one for right now. Me taking the hero's journey myself individually, moving into healing, and then taking that wisdom that I learned and moving it out, and hopefully being able to share that with other people. And this is my outlet. And then hopefully we all can learn what Carl Jung was trying to teach humanity. And we can learn together, because I'm still learning. The man was prolific, and I don't know how any human being could even get through his collective works. He had a lot to say, and it was imperative, and I want to share that because I want to share Jung's wisdom. Maybe it wasn't ready to be out there now, but I think it is now. I think there's a lot more people awakening to what Carl Jung was always trying to say. He was way ahead of his time. he was Aquarius. I think he had Aquarius ascendant, I think. I think he was a Leo sun with an Aquarius ascendant and a Taurus moon, if I'm correct. And so he was a genius out in the world. His ascendant was, his persona represented the genius. And anyway, so we'll go into all that. I sorry about the. We'll fix this. But anyway, have a good morning. And that's what happens when you try to make a video when you first wake up. Okay, learning from my mistakes. All right. Have a good rest of your weekend. This is a very long video. I will have to definitely fix this. I mean, this is kind of for me, just putting out there too to help me organize my information. So pardon me in the process. All right. Have a great weekend. I wasn't even supposed to work today, but I couldn't help myself. All right.